Okay, here we
Hey,
go. I hereby call the meeting to order. The first item on our agenda is, do we have an audience out there? Have any audience that wants to speak and say anything to any of us? I see everybody as a participant. I see no one. So, I'm sorry? Nothing? Okay, so we move ahead. Okay, so can I have a minutes of May 2nd? Does everybody have a copy of them?
Yes.
Any comments to make on the minutes? Do I have a motion to approve, please?
Yes.
So moved.
Okay. Second?
Second.
Second, okay. All those in favor of the minutes of May 2nd, please regard by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, good. Thank you very much. That motion is passed on that.
Mr. Chairman, just note my abstention because I wasn't here.
Okay, we'll make that, Janice makes that report. I don't.
Okay, I've got that down.
Okay, Janice, good. Okay, moving on. What's this thing called? Simsbury High School Roof Replacement Project? That's that guy, Al Jokonski.
Yeah, it is. And Dick, you may notice a tear in my eye because I have a feeling this may be my last meeting with you guys, at least for this project.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the job is done, believe it or not.
It is.
Yep.
I
We
don't-
had our final punch list review on May 26th. There were several items still left on there. There were two items that still were outstanding, some landscaping work on the front of the building and confirmation of a replacement of a fan motor that was installed incorrectly on one of the units.
Right.
We did receive confirmation that all that work was done. The project's closed out. I issued a final application for payment and the job is done.
Okay. Any comments to Val from anybody else before we move forward? All right, hearing none, I have an invoice here from Greenwood Industries, invoice number 256968, in amount of $101,831.62. Do I hear a motion to accept?
So moved.
Move. A second? Okay. Any questions regarding that? Al, is that all set with them?
All set with them.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? So carried. Okay, the next invoice I have is from Jukunski Humes. It's invoice 22168 in amount of $1,180. Do any questions, comments? Al, is this your last one, right?
That's my last one.
Yep. Okay, do I hear a motion to approve?
Yes.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. So carried. Okay, sir. Al, thank you very, very much. I guess we're all set. We can move forward and thank you much. And as you know, we have a couple of school projects coming up, so maybe you can keep your ears and noses listening to that.
I have them and I'm definitely going to submit. And Dick, I don't know if there's a project recap if you want to go over it that you have in your package.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Yep. So basically the budget that was submitted to school construction grants was $2,591,985. I'll go over it quickly.
These are
Green was
for what, for the two schools?
This is just for the high school roof.
Oh, just for the high school?
Just for the high school roof.
Okay.
Greenwood's original contract was $1,891,000. We did have a fairly large deduct alternate for not
Oh, yes.
utilizing the base sheet of $101,000. We did have two other change orders. Change order 2 is reinforcing of the seams for solar panels, replacement of 10 rooftop units. There was some Sunday premium time to get the job done. Removal of abandoned louvers and new active louvers, adjustment of access ladders, and there's some painting of railings and louvers. That was a change order for $234,947. We then added a change order for the additional OSHA railings, and then took a credit for unused allowances. That was an add of $11,000. Our fees didn't change. That was $60,475, and I put in a $7,000 for owner's cost. I'm not sure exactly what that number was, but to make a long story short, you still have a balance of $487,877 on this project. So
That's going to be owed to?
And I could tell you, Dick, if you went out to bid for this roof now, you'd be short of money.
Yeah.
It is
Yep.
amazing how roofing costs have
What's going
increased.
on? So we're here. Yeah.
Yep. So we're lucky to get this done when we did.
Yeah.
Good job, Al.
Thank you.
Very, very
Thank
good
you.
job. Thank you. We got a couple more coming. Jason Casey, any comments in regard to the high school?
No, I'm glad to see it's done, and I'll move it to the Board of Ed to accept it as finished.
That's what I'm going to ask you to do. Okay, very, very good. Any other questions, comments, anybody? Al, again, thank you very, very much for your time, what you've
Thank
done.
you.
Thanks, Al.
And having you aboard again someday.
Love to be with you guys.
Thank you.
Take care. Good night.
Good night now. Okay, moving ahead to Latimer Lane. First thing there would be a Tecton report.
Okay,
Tecton.
good evening, Justin Hopkins, Tecton Architects. We also have Derek Bride from CES. As stated in our project update for the PBC, we have issued 50% construction documents. As part of these documents, we have built in the bid alternates that were discussed at our previous meetings. These consist of 7 alternates, 1 for the geothermal wells, 2 related to site work, the exterior storage shed, emergency generator capacity increase, a typical flooring increase to rubber floor tile in lieu of linoleum composition tile, and a electronic loading gate at the area of the loading dock. So those have been incorporated into the drawing set. We anticipate being able to receive breakout costs, and that is one of our strategies to reduce the overall budget.
How long is that going to take to get these done?
We are scheduled to complete 100% CDs the end of the first week of July. So we have about 4 weeks.
Will that interfere anything with our bidding going now?
No, and I'm sure O&G will give a far broader update for this, but we have, since our last building committee meeting, met with Bob Selmer at OSCGNR to discuss the potential of a early phase pre-procurement package. What O&G is doing is formulating bid packages as part of our 50% CDs, and these will be for roof material, as was just discussed. Those are long lead items. So roof membrane and insulation, as well as electrical switchboards and panel boards, ductile, iron pipe, and the underground detention and piping associated with it.
Wow.
So those are kind of broad brush long lead items that we get them into the procurement queue. So by the time that we're bidding the 100% bid packages, that material will theoretically be available to not interrupt the construction sequencing. One other administrative item to note: we have developed a plumbing fixture code modification. This is a pretty typical modification for schools. If you take simultaneous use for the entire building, you're at about 2,500 occupants. And if you take the required plumbing fixtures according to that occupant load, you would need 52 toilets and lavatories throughout the building. So it's very common to take the actual occupancy, which are students and staff, which allow us to have a lower threshold for our plumbing fixture quantities. And even with that, we're still at 185% of the calculated plumbing fixture capacity. So typically, as I mentioned, this is a very common modification that you issue for school construction. It needs to get the first endorsement of the local building official, and then it goes to the state.
Right.
I have communicated with Henry Miga, the building official for Simsbury. We're scheduling a meeting to not only discuss the plumbing mod, which he was generally in favor of. He's familiar with this being a common practice, but also prep the building official review and fire marshal review, which is a predicate for OSCGNR review. So prior to even pulling the building permit, we need to get signatures and acceptance from the building official and the fire marshal, right, before we can go to the state. So this is all kind of the next round of coordination.
But you have submitted to the state, haven't you? Sent in a request for modification?
We have it prepped. It's just waiting the signature of the building official.
Oh, okay.
Then we'll go to the state.
Okay.
These typically are very familiar mods for the Office of the State Building Inspector, so I don't foresee any
Right.
issue.
I don't think it's gonna be a problem either. That's kind of seen here, it goes on often.
Yep.
Anybody have any comments or questions or to Jason at this point? None? Up, go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, what's the early release package for ductile iron pipe?
Mark, you want to field that one? Mark from ONG?
Yeah, I'll jump in on that. Hey, this is Mark Sedensky from ONG. So my normal conversations on this job and other jobs with certain contractors, just talking. We do have a water line that we're bringing into the building. Ductile iron is essentially made with pig iron. Two largest producers in the world are Ukraine and Russia. Last year, everybody bought up a lot of the plastic pipe, and pipe is tough to find these days. Now, in the last couple of weeks, could that have changed? Certainly could have. But it's a simple enough thing for me to put something together to go out and try to procure it. I was told a 12-month lead time a couple of weeks ago. So just trying to be proactive. We're trying to, with the information that we have, when we have it, we're trying to, cover the bases.
Yeah.
Yep. Anything else?
Yeah, I mean, if you want me to, I'll just continue.
No, hang on. We've got to toward the end.
Go ahead.
Let's go with our agenda as we normally have. Okay, anything else there, Mr. Jason? Justin from Tecton?
No.
Okay, we have an invoice from Tecton, invoice number 45101 in the amount of $1,040 and $140,045.63. Do I hear a motion to accept?
So moved.
So moved. Second?
Second.
Okay. Any other comments? Hearing none, all those in favor, somebody saying aye?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So carried. Okay, next item on our agenda is Arcadis.
Dick, hold on a second. So we are paying for 50% CD. We haven't seen any drawings at this point. Can we see a set of documents for 50% CDs?
Yes, we can absolutely distribute those.
Yeah,
Okay.
we've had some minor drawings on our little photocopies on your reports that are coming in, but other than that, no. So if we can get us something, I think we need to,
I mean,
I'm sorry?
the project will be completed in 4 weeks, and we haven't seen anything since, I don't know, maybe DDE or something, or maybe
Design
even
development.
before that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're okay. All right, John? Somebody's talking, you're coming in broken up. Where was it? Can't hear you.
Derek, I think the battery's dying in your headphones.
We lost them altogether.
Yeah, we lost something.
Yeah.
Didn't pay his internet bill.
John, why don't you continue on? You're next on the agenda.
All right. Well, as you probably all know by now, we did get our grant approved as part of the budget bill at the legislature. So that was the big news for the month of May.
Right.
The complimentary news was that there were meetings with both the Board of Selectmen and followed by the Board of Finance regarding the supplemental funding conversation so that we could show the ability to pay in going forward to OSCGR with our request to review our plans. So there was on May 17th, a motion by the Board of Finance to allocate $1,364,624 to the project to indicate an ability to pay towards the numbers that we had seen at the design development estimate. What we also learned in those meetings was that there is a stipulation in the referendum that was passed last year that says that it is an exact amount, in that if we intend to spend anything, which means before we can sign contracts with ONG for the trade contracts, we would need to go back to referendum for the supplemental funding.
Right.
At least we'll be pursuing it with the actual costs based on bids rather than speculating at this point. One interesting detail that came out of that conversation was that there are a number of items on the ballot for the November election, and I'll say their dance card is full. There's no room for an additional item on the ballot with whatever technology they use in Simsbury to add an additional item for our referendum. So that would place us in a position where we would need to have a standalone vote,
Standalone referendum.
standalone election day or trip to the polls in order to vote on the referendum to reauthorize whatever the number is. As Mark will share in O&G's update, we've got some speculation on just where that date might fall in order to provide them the opportunity to bid it, verify the numbers, and come back with something that is as exact as we can come up with. But that is an interesting wrinkle in the process that we would need to go back for a vote. So the process would look like this. We would bid it, we would verify through scope reviews. O&G would then present a proposed guaranteed maximum price. With that number in hand, then the town would be able to start the process with X number of weeks required to warn for a referendum vote with that particular number in it, and then ultimately hold the vote. So there will be a little bit of downtime between when we would be ready to authorize the GMP and when we'll have the dollars verified or dollars approved so that we can actually sign paper with O&G. So that's an unfortunate wrinkle, but in this market, who knows, perhaps by the time we bid it, prices will moderate a little bit and we won't need the supplemental money. But
no, that's not a funny thing. We got a very serious problem here because we're running now on time. I don't know if Dave or anybody can comment on this, but in reference to starting construction here, the school gets out when is school empty out, Neil? When does Latimer Lane close out? Somebody from Board of Ed?
June 10th.
Yeah, next week, really. But we're not, at this point, we have not really planned on summer construction at this point.
Well, I hope we get something done out there. Do we think we're going to get something done there, Dave?
No, I mean, I'll let Mark speak to it in more detail, but no, our current trajectory is that there's nothing that can be done this summer aside from this early package that we're talking about, where we're going to be acquiring materials that are a longer lead time.
When do you see us start banging on the facility for construction?
Well, I think Mark,
So-
you can speak to this, right? Because again, as Jack talked about, there's a couple of trajectories, and I guess Mark, start with the trajectory. If we go the way we are without needing the referendum.
Okay, so if you guys don't mind, I'll just share my screen and walk you through this. Oh, I guess I can't share my screen, but okay, now I can. And let me know if you can see my screen.
Yep.
Okay, so we got two paths. We've since we're doing an early procurement, so we can actually get a shovel in the ground this year. Still have roofing on time, still have electrical gear when we need it next year. I kind of highlighted in green here. Hopefully you can see it. We have the 50% documents now. Based upon those, I'm going to prepare a bid package, and we're going to prepare a bid package and call it a phase one to go up to the state. And there's certain letters. There's a whole process that we have to go through in order for you guys to get your reimbursement. So we're going to prepare that. We'll have to get approval from this committee as well as Board of Education to go up. The end of this month, mid-month. We'll finalize the documents. Go up to OSC GNR, get their approval, hopefully within I always allow 10 days. They usually do turn it around within 10 days from the time we meet with them. Go out to bid long lead material. 15 days is 3 weeks. We could certainly, shorten that a couple of days. I don't think it's going to gain you much. Get bids in, scope people. Again, I think I issued you a letter to the committee, a quick memo to the committee. The early procurement is going to be a roofing trade contract package, okay, which will be the roofing, labor, and the material, okay. The stormwater detention basin, so we have that at some point when we need it, ductile iron pipe, switchboards, and panel boards, okay. That'll be procured early. Then we get our, in red, the red arrows, we get our 50% CD documents on July 8th. Okay. We do our CD estimate in 2 weeks. We have a reconciliation meeting with the two estimators, ONG and PAX. They reconcile the estimate. You know, we get a projected budget, which we need for OSC GNR in order to get the 30% reimbursement. We come before the boards and before you people. Also need Board of Ed approval, you know, some sign offs. We go up to the state, again, 10 days, hopefully the state turns it around in 10 days. We finalize the documents and we're out to bid from the end of August to the end of September, the bidding. Now, a 20-day bidding period, what I'll do when we originally go out to bid, I'll set the bid period for 3 weeks. What happens is these estimators with all these companies, they'll get the bid, they'll put it on their schedule. They won't look at it for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
What we normally do is we'll give them a bid date, and then we usually kick it because they don't start looking at it until later. So even a 20-day bid period, a 4-week bid period is pretty quick.
Wow.
Yeah, we get, did I jump ahead a little bit here? We get bids in at the end of September. We have scope reviews. Again, I can probably bang those out pretty quickly. 2 weeks, you know, doing 3-4 a day. Time review of the bids at the same time you guys are taking a look at the bids. Hopefully we get some tight bids. We get good numbers. You know, we established a GMP, guaranteed maximum price based upon the bids, and we bring it before you guys and you guys approve it.
Yep.
Now, if, as Jack said before, let's assume we come in under budget. Go ahead, Dave.
Mark, sorry, it's Dave. Just bring that full circle there as far as what that relates to for mobilizing on site, as just to bring that okay. One path all the way to ground there.
Yep.
We're mobilizing when it's basically the middle of November.
Yeah, so we're under budget. We come before you. You guys approve the GMP.
Right.
The next day, I send out 20 limited notice to proceed, which locks everybody in, and then I start writing contracts. People start getting their material, their procurement and paperwork ready. That puts us, you know, by the time they actually get contracts, that puts us probably mid-November for construction. That's if we're under budget. If we're over budget, I put in a line item here, which I haven't, which I haven't linked to anything, but I've put a line item in here, referendum if required.
Yep.
And the 33 days here recommends, it translates into approximately a month and a half.
Right.
Where if you did need to go back and get more money, we have a thought where we can do an ad, you know, we can ask the bidders to you know, hold their pricing for 45 days or 90 days or 100 days. I mean, there's going to be a premium at some point. There's going to be a tip there.
Would it be wise to do? Would it be wise maybe cut your bid down into an item that would be not really in the drawings as an added addendum?
Well, we will have addendum just as part of the process. Bidders are going to get it. The documents can be very tight. My packages can be very tight. You're still going to get questions. We're still going to have to, answer. We're going to have our walkthroughs. We're going to have the bidders the opportunity to visit the site and ask questions.
Yep.
Again, we can shave it down. You're not, in my experience, you're not going to gain. You might gain a week or two.
Okay.
You might end up with worse bids.
Yep.
Because they haven't looked at the document.
Gotcha.
So.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
There's another scenario, kind of a third route. If in fact our base bids come in within the appropriation that we have, and the alternates, things such as whether the town decides they want to go forward with the geothermal wells, if we wanted to upgrade the flooring, if we wanted to do the landscape items,
right?
There's a possibility, who knows how likely it'll be, that we could issue the base contract scopes and get those contracts started, and then only have to wait for exercising the alternates after the referendum passes.
That's basically what I was thinking of.
That's a roll of the dice. We don't know until bid day what that'll look like.
All right, but that is an option. We could do that.
That is something arguably that could work.
That's what I was thinking of if we had a problem. Okay. Any other questions?
Just a couple, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
So in that time frame, I was seeing 10 days for straight grant review. Given how short staffed that office is right now, is that a realistic budget for time?
I would say it's real. They usually will turn it around. If we go up there with our ducks in order, we can usually, assuming nobody's on vacation, but if we go up there with our ducks in order, and between OMG and Arcadis and Tecton, we've certainly been up there enough times. We should have things pretty tight. The 10 days is, we might do 7. I don't think we'll do more than 11 or 12.
Yeah, I know that like the head of that office they still haven't filled that role, and things have been slow shifting around. So if that's realistic, that sounds great. I don't know anything beyond that.
Yep.
And then on the schedule impact of the referendum, Jack just walked through how we could break it up and do the ad alternates. If the base contract comes in under budget and the ad alternates are over and they want to do that, we could issue that. Is there any other way to break up the contracts so we could get shovels in the ground while the rest of the money was pending approval at the referendum?
Well, in addition to potentially delaying the exercise date for the alternates, we could also, as another one of my clients is doing, saying, well, we're not buying furniture today. Let's temporarily reallocate the budget value from the furniture line into the construction line in order to bolster that and allow the contract to be signed.
Yeah, we normally wait till construction bids dates to come up with decisions, or they go here, go there, or that. And normally that works out well, Ryan, without a problem.
Yeah, no, I understand that, Mike. And the reason I'm asking is that if we need to make decisions before bid day, in order to get
we got to get the numbers ahead of us. We need numbers in front of us to make decisions, Ryan.
The Board of Selectmen we're pretty clear on that if we in fact are going back to the street for another referendum, they wanted to be have the highest level of confidence in the number that we could.
Good, right?
Yes, yeah. No, I'm not. Perhaps I'm being unclear. I'm not saying we should go back to referendum without the bids. That's clearly not what I'm asking. What I'm asking is what I think John was suggesting. Is there a way to break up the contract such that those trades that need to go early can sign their contracts while FF&E are being sent back under the referendum?
We could break the contract up for what has to happen right away first. So we can sign the contract to go to ONG and ask them, Mark, but we can sign the contract to get ABC company out there, start digging in the ground without giving the contracts to the rest of them and save some time. Yes.
So let me.
It's up to ONG.
Can I take a stab at that?
our contract will be with O&G as far as getting the project done. Now, if we say we have a problem, O&G can go out and start digging ground tomorrow and not do anything else until we get the money. Is that right, Mark?
So for instance, it's Mark from ONG. For instance, we could come to you and say, okay, we're generally within budget.
Right.
You know, maybe there's a couple of alternates that you want that we can't afford. You're going to go back and try to get a few bucks. We'll bring you site work, concrete, steel, general trades. You know, 3, 4, or 5 contractors. We could prepare a GMP 1. You guys could allow us to execute contracts with the site, steel and concrete, and we could get out there and get going.
Right.
There is a risk to that, you know, if for whatever reason you don't get the rest of the money that you wanted, you know, you're I guess you're not pregnant, you're actually in delivery.
Okay. And
so yes, it can be done.
Okay. And if under that, those 33 days that you have built in here would disappear.
We would get started. Sure.
Yeah, it gets started.
Sure.
Okay. That's what I was asking. Thank you.
No, we're all set. Okay, any other questions?
Yeah, I got a couple follow-up questions. I don't know if now is the time. It's not related to the schedule. It's related to last month's minutes.
Well, can you hold on? We'll get that under other, please.
Yep.
Okay. Any other questions to Arcadis? Any other questions to ONG?
I have a little bit more to discuss.
Okay, I know. I just want to make sure there are any questions first.
Okay.
Done? Okay, John, finish up.
All right. As Justin referred to and Mark showed as steps in the schedule, in order to proceed with our early procurement package, we will need to do that separate set of documents that goes up to the state for review, which will require both the building committee and the Board of Ed to approve the document. So we will be asking you for a special meeting either next week or the week after. We need to confirm with the Board of Ed just how their agenda process is working. It may be too late to get on their agenda for next week's meeting, but we would try to expedite those meetings as soon as ONG can present the packages to go into the agendas for both of those bodies, yourselves and the Board of Ed.
John, if we pick a day now, is ONG going to be able to make it? Let's say we go the 20th. Can ONG have the package ready for us by the 20th to vote on?
Well, I believe Mark indicated
that
was true.
Yeah.
I guess the question is, if the Board of Ed's normal meeting is next Tuesday, the 14th, would we be able to get everything together by Thursday of this week to make the PBC's agenda packet on Thursday, and then have a Monday, Tuesday special meeting and Board of Ed meeting next week? Is that feasible, Mark?
That was my plan, Jack. Yeah, to have things available. Our portion of the estimate, our bid packages, our front end stuff, have it available to get to the committee. 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock on the 16th.
Yeah,
that was my plan, Jack.
On the 16th.
On the 16th.
Next Thursday. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So then, so a special meeting for the building committee on the 20th seems feasible. Next step will be to confirm with the Board of Ed just how their process will work. And then once we get that date from the Board of Ed, I'll schedule the date with OSCGR for the actual plan review.
Does that make sense? In reference to, well, okay.
But Jack, just to be clear, no chance for a Board of Ed. I'm not pushing for it. There won't be a Board of Ed agenda item on this on the 14th.
I thought that was pressing our luck.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So it's not going to happen.
So Neil, do you feel that it's possible for them to grant us a special meeting, even if they did it virtually, to approve?
Yeah, that's exactly what I think. That given that probably a lot of people be with the school year ending, people may be on vacation. I think Zoom would be our friend at that point, but we could definitely do a special meeting.
My question would be then, John, if maybe we should have the Board of Education meet before us so we know how they vote before we vote. So like they meet on a special meeting one night and we meet within the next couple of days of their meeting.
That's possible. I've had Board of Eds say, well, we don't know the job as well as the building committee does, so we don't want to vote unless the building committee votes.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know what the dynamic is in Simsbury.
Neil, do you think we should vote first and then give it to you folks to say we voted yes or no on it?
I mean, I don't think it matters. I defer to the experts here.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, we normally have approval from our leading committees before we make a decision, but I don't want to hold things up. If it would help us to making a decision first, passing on the Board of Education that the Public Building Committee agrees with what's being said and move forward, or to wait for the Board of Education to say, we agree, now you have to agree.
Well, allow me, if you would, to work with Neil to coordinate what's feasible for the Board of Ed, and then I'll loop back to you, Dick, and we'll confirm when might be the best time for a special PBC meeting.
Well, I think I need to ask.
Generally the week of the 20th.
I need to ask committee members that are here now what day would be a good day. In other words, for instance, would the 20th be a good day? I don't know. Will we have a quorum or not? I asked the group just for the heck of it. Will the 20th be a good day to meet?
Yeah, I'm available anytime that week. I'm just away next week.
Yep.
And it would be a very short agenda.
Yeah, it'd be very short. It'd be just a very quick meeting.
Yeah.
All right, so let's leave that date up. Let's not pick a date until we hear back from John then, right?
Yeah, so we'll
All right, let me tell you what I will do. I will email every one of the members of my committee first saying, here's a date we'd like to have. Is it okay with you? And if I have another quorum for that meeting that day, then we pick that date. If not that day, I'll give you an option of a couple of days. A meeting of the 20th, the 21st, the 22nd. Which day do you prefer? If I get 5 for the 20th, then we'll say, okay, 20th. If we get 5 for the 21st, we'll do whatever. Okay, does that make sense?
Sure.
Yeah. Have any problem with that? Okay. Anything else? All right, so we're all set with Acadius. We're all set with O&G. We haven't gotten an invoice or a bill from them. Under other, we had a question come up from someone to talk about other. Let's talk about that now.
Yeah, I had a couple of questions just following up on the minutes of last month.
Right.
There was a note saying that
Narrator.
we needed formal approval for the list of alternates in June. I thought we took care of that, but I just wanted to follow up to make sure the board wasn't, or the building committee wasn't holding anything up.
No, we moved everything around.
Okay. And then can the design team update us on the mechanical room in the basement, if that's going to be
audio. Alt plus A.
We got somebody's voice in the background affecting us here. I'm sorry. Can you ask that question again, please? To who?
Yeah. Can we get an update from the design team on the basement mechanical room and if we're able to eliminate the one on the first floor?
So we're not, I don't know if Derek has his ears back or his microphone back, but we are able to locate some equipment in the basement. It does not give us a lot of ground to make up for the mechanical room proper.
Right.
And we've also run into an operational issue where we're stealing some real estate from the basement that was intended to be storage for the school building. We have displaced that that storage capacity that could be used elsewhere in the building. So we haven't been able to realize a reduction in square footage per se, but that also was not, I don't believe that was one of the items that we calculated to get to our lower budget. We're looking at, Derek, I don't know if you want to also add any information. We issued the 50% documents to the project team and the management team, but I don't think that they made it to you guys through our new form of file server. We'll send that and we can be prepared to discuss as well. And if we need to have a similar meeting to discuss the mechanical systems that we've had previously offline, not offline, but not a focus meeting with the kind of clean energy task force group that we've met with before.
Yeah,
we'd
you've met
certainly
with
be
Lucian
happy-
and Mike before, right?
Yeah,
That's
we'd
correct. Yeah.
certainly be happy to facilitate that.
Okay. I don't have a problem with that. We need to have a meeting with Mike and Lucian. If the date agrees with them, there should be no problem. Lucian, you okay with that? He's okay with that. And Mike, you're okay with that. I see your head shaking, yes. So,
Yeah. Yep.
yeah, okay.
So
Yeah, just if we
I'll-
could review the drawings and
Just
then.
want to
we'll
make sure,
let you know
right?
if
Yep.
you have any questions?
Yep, just want to make sure. Okay.
Yep.
Good. Okay. We'll leave that up to you. Okay. Anything else in that area? Okay. Any old business? All right, let me have Jason Casey talk to us about the new business, which is a thing called Terfel and Central Partial Roof.
So yes, we have two partial roof replacement projects that were part of the recent referendum in May. So this is more of a heads up than a formal statement, but we are in the process of getting on the Board of Selectmen's meeting to have them assign the PBC to oversee those projects. Simultaneously, I've put an RFP for an architect out on the street, which we should have PBC approval to manage the meetings ahead of that selection process. So this committee would choose the architect and move forward with the scope.
Do you have a date now when you're looking for those RFPs?
July 8th.
July 8th. Okay, well, our next meeting technically would probably be July 5th because July 4th is a holiday, so it'd be Tuesday instead of Monday. But if we can move, maybe we can move it to the following week. Our regular meeting, let me get my calendar out here. Maybe move it to July 11th, Monday, July 11th, and then we'll have that stuff, that information in front of us where we can move on it. Does that make sense? That
And I
makes
just want to
sense
be clear,
members?
this is a project for not this coming summer, but the summer of 23.
Yeah, but we need to move forward and get an architect aboard because we see what's going on with the dates lately. It's best to get moving on that ASAP.
Absolutely.
Any comments? Okay, and then the new business, we got to pick a day for our regular meeting. Our regular meeting, I recommend we do July 11th. Does anybody have a problem with that?
No, that's good.
I'm sorry?
It's good by me.
Okay, John?
Good by me.
Yeah. Okay, Lucian? Okay, Lucian. Bud Kelly was here, but I didn't see he's gone. Okay. Tom Roy, do you have a problem with meeting that day?
That should work for
By
me.
Zoom?
Yep.
Okay. And if anything comes up before, I will text everybody and say, hey, look, we got to talk about this. And can we have a meeting tomorrow? And everybody either says yes or no. I think we have a problem with that. All right. So what we'll set forth then is our special meeting. Our regular meeting will be July 11th. 7/11 is our regular meeting date. Okay. Any other comments, questions? Lucian,
I do.
hang on, Lucian.
Can we go back to the Latimer Lane? I thought we were going to get some numbers with regards to the budget for the pre-construction duration, additional duration.
Yes, we did. All three players, Tecton, ONG, and myself, had that conversation this afternoon. I haven't been able to to review all the numbers from them to make a recommendation to you, and even my own number as I was preparing to leave for vacation 2 weeks ago. That my report went out, but our proposal did not. For simplicity's sake, Arcadis would continue on with the monthly flat rate that we've been billing for pre-construction, which is $13,750. And for the additional construction duration, our generic monthly rate on that per our negotiations is $12,318. So we would hold to that number as well for the additional
I
construction.
thought we had numbers listed, yeah.
Yeah. Well, the only thing is because at the moment, those numbers aren't even included in that additional $1.3 million. And it sounds to me like they have to be taken into consideration. So whatever kind of budget summary we're doing, we should have a line item for that additional cost
Right.
from all the consultants.
Right.
And is there an estimate how long, how many months, how many additional
Yeah, that's what I'm
months?
saying. We should have a
$12,000
That's what I'm
a
saying, yeah.
month, but for how many months?
But we would estimate that within our budget. So when we prepare our budget for referendum, if it need be, or the addition, that should include that.
That's correct. And with a meeting on the 20th or thereabouts, for a special meeting to approve the plans, all three consultants will have their numbers in front of you.
All right, you'll get back to us for a date, and I'll go back out for the day of the 20th for a special meeting. We can get on board.
Right.
Leave that
Yeah,
open.
but I would put that number right in your summary, you know.
Yep. Expected.
Yeah.
Yep. Any other comments? Lucian, you had a question?
No, it was the same comment as John.
Okay, good. Thank you. Any other comments? Hearing none, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So move.
Second.
Okay. Everybody agree that we should adjourn? Well, thank you very, very much, and we'll see you, hopefully in June sometime, but again, if not in June, we'll see you on the 11th of July. And everyone take care and stay cool, and talk to you soon. Take care.
Good night, everybody.
Thanks.
Bye.